We're standing here in Egypt with our two children, Steph and Bevan. Steph is 8 and Bevan is 5. Today we're looking at Akhenaten, Nefertiti, and 3 daughters.
Yes, this is a great example of an early portrait.
The portraits in this time period were often idealized and symbolic.
That's why they have the long heads and curved bodies, which during the Amarna period was considered the ideal.
This portrait is used as propaganda to boost the new monotheistic religion of the time period, which was not very popular.
This portrait portrays Akhenaten as a good father, and the sun on top symbolizes that the god Aten is the sun and as he shines down on Akhenaten.
This was a really informal portrait for a pharaoh, but it was intended to make the people like him and his new religion more.
After this period, Egypt went back to its regular polytheistic religion, and the portrait style went back to its original styles.
Mommy! Daddy! I want to go to see the mummies!
All right, let's go. We are sitting here in a random Korean art gallery, and we are looking at the traditional Joseon Dynasty depiction of Sinsukje.
Why does this one look so different from the rest of the portraits? Well, Bevan, that's because this is not a part of Western art. This is a part of an Eastern meritorious subjects.
What on earth does meritorious mean?
Meritorious subjects was a form of portrait and painting style in East Asia that exemplified and honored distinguished members of their imperial courts, such as Sinsukje, an important official for the king of the Korean Empire.
The design on his chest makes him look important.
That's exactly correct, Steph. The insignia on his chest signifies to all who see the painting that this man was a part of the civic court, and thus a highly respected member of Korean society.
Yes, and to continue to add to his importance, he is depicted in the Korean ideal.
Yes, that ideal being only his face remaining visible, as every part of his body is flat and covered with traditional clothing.
Yes, truly an ideal of the times. Can we see a communist dictator portrait now, Mommy? Why, of course, darling.
We're here in 1950s China, looking around the city, and at nearly every corner we see an iconic piece of propaganda art.
Yes, of course we're talking about Chairman Mao en route to Anyuan. My favorite piece! Oh, Bevan, of course this is your favorite. It is so elegant and majestic and so full of communist propaganda.
Yes, that is precisely what it is. Just a single look at this full-body portrait and one cannot help but feel overwhelmed with the glory and power of this figure.
He's in a gorgeous landscape.
Yes, that's absolutely right. Chairman Mao was set in this idyllic, pristine mountain and cloud landscape with a distant atmospheric perspective.
Yes, almost as if he is on top of the world.
You can't blame the Chinese for looking up to this and respecting this, since they had no real way of knowing who Mao was. This portrait was a good way of familiarizing the face. Why is it so powerful?
Ha ha! Oh, Bevan, art is power. This exemplifies the political power and propaganda that can be portrayed through portraits. We're standing here in the Galleria degli Uffizi in Florence looking at Self-Portrait by Elizabeth Louise Vigée-Lebrun.
This portrait is from the Enlightenment time period in the late 1700s in Europe. Daddy, who's that girl in the picture?
That girl is actually Elizabeth herself. This portrait is one she painted of herself painting a portrait.
It looks like it could be a picture, not a painting.
Yes. During this art historical period, portraits were very accurate, especially ones by her, because she didn't paint perfection, she just painted normal women.
Yes, her specialty was portraits of mothers and women, and they looked very realistic.
I want to look at more paintings that look like pictures. Okay, let's go.
Oh, look at this one. I like it. It's really realistic.
Yes, This is arguably one of the most important and best paintings ever painted. Velázquez was one of the most important Spanish painters of all time, and the royal family in Spain's official painter.
Yes, one of the reasons is all of the different perspectives it has.
Yes, this is actually a portrait of Velázquez painting a portrait with Princess Margarita and her servants around him.
The real question in this painting is who is he painting? Some say he's painting Margarita or her parents, whose reflection is in the back mirror.
The parents may also be on the outside of the painting looking in, and that's what the people in the painting are looking at.
Wow, that's a lot of different things it could be.
Yes, this is too confusing. Can we please see something else now?
All right, let's move on. We are sitting here in the National Gallery in London with Steph and Bevan.
Yes, and we are looking at the Arnolfini portrait from the great Dutch Renaissance artist Jan van Eyck.
You know, at first glance, you can really see the pure depth and precision of these oil paint strokes.
Absolutely. Everything seems so pristine and natural, truly masterful and a spectacle.
Is this a wedding, Mommy?
Oh, Steph, you have a good eye for this, just like your mom and dad. Now, this could certainly be interpreted as that. A marriage between a rich Italian, Giovanni Arnolfini, and his bride. However, it could also symbolize a kind of tragedy. A tragedy?
Yes, Bevan, a tragedy. There are so many symbols and signs within this. One could see the dog as a symbol of fidelity and friendship, but then one may see the candle chandelier, with the candles put out on the side of the girl, but lit on the side of Giovanni, possibly suggesting that his wife is dead while he lives on.
Such a deep portrait, in all honesty. It really shows the length that Jan van Eyck, who even included himself in the mirror, went to show the importance and depth of the Arnolfini portrait.
I love it, Mom and Dad.
Shut up, Steph! I love it more!
We're standing here looking at the two Fridas by the famous artist Frida Kahlo.
Yes, this painting is really interesting because it is a painting of Frida herself, but there is two of her. Ew! You can see her heart and it's all gross and bleeding!
That's nasty! Cool. Haha, that's true, kids. This picture shows the two sides of Frida, the traditional Mexican side and the European side she was supposed to be.
Yes, the two sides of her are connected by a vein between their two hearts and their held hands.
But the European heart is sick and bleeding because the Mexican Frida is the true Frida, and the European is not who she really is.
Yes, this portrait is extremely honest and really shows the emotion through symbols of how Frida is feeling. Well, I think it's gross!
We're here in the Los Angeles Museum of Art looking at an exquisitely unique portrait by Ernst Kirchner, Self-Portrait as a Soldier. Mommy, Daddy, this one is weird. Yes, Steph, yes it is.
But it's weird in a good way. This portrait recapitulates the evolution of the portrait through the 19th and 20th centuries.
Yes, you're absolutely right, Beth, my lovely wife. Prior to this European and avant-garde movement, the ideal for portraits was set in realistic, accurate, and proportional representation of the subject.
This one isn't any of those things. Yes, that's precisely the point, Bevan. Not only is Kirchner illustrating himself, but he is doing it in a metaphoric way, depicting himself as a soldier in World War II and the consequences within that.
That's right. This portrait is more than just a face. It has some incessantly captivating elements. A missing hand, a naked figure in the background, an indistinct face. It's so angsty.
Yes, it is.